Today is very exciting because we are with these two incredible women. It's very, very important that we celebrate women entrepreneurs. And the best way is to talk amongst ourselves and to share our challenges and our successes and exchange it, right? So that's why we are here. So introduce yourself.
My name's Sashee. I'm founder and CEO of Tea Drops.
My name is Sabine, founder and CEO of All of Us Crayons.
Tell me what's different about your teas and about your crayons.
I founded a company called Tea Drops, and we make an assortment of bagless whole leaf teas that are in a shape of a drop. So our mission at Tea Drops is to create magical tea moments that connect you to what's important. And when we say what's important, it means connection to oneself, connection to others, connection to one's community. My mom is Chinese and my dad's from Sri Lanka. Both my parents are immigrants. Tea was always at the center of family gatherings, of parties. Anytime someone came over, they were always greeted with a cup of tea.
Ceylon, which is now called Sri Lanka,
Yeah.
which before that was called Serendip.
I can't believe you know all this.
I know because I went to Sri Lanka.
Okay.
And the word serendipity comes from that. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
You see?
No.
All right. Okay. So anyway, this was all very serendipitous.
Yeah.
So you grow up in a family where everybody turns around the tea.
Yeah. Second to water, tea is the most consumed beverage in the world. Sri Lanka is one of the largest producers of tea in the world. So is China. So tea was at the center of our, family gatherings, and I love the ritual of tea. But I started, graduated from college, started my first big girl job, and realized that the process of making traditional loose leaf tea, it takes a while. You have to sit there.
Well, it's a ceremony.
It's a whole ritual. And I love the ritual. But I also was working a very fast-paced Silicon Valley job. And I didn't have time meeting to just steep the tea. So that was the inspiration. So then I just started experimenting in my apartment kitchen for a year and a half, and eventually came up with this notion of a tea drop, which is a bagless form of tea, and ended up going to a local business resource center where they encouraged me to patent the idea.
First you had the idea. After that you did a patent.
I wrote the patent.
And then, the name of the company?
I was ideating with different names, and my brother is actually the one who came up with the word tea drop. He's like, well, what you're doing is, it's tea in the form of a drop, so why don't you call it Tea Drop?
It's a great name.
Thank you. So I started selling it at artisan shows and farmers markets, and slowly, show by show, built up some retail accounts, and then from there started selling it online, and started selling on Amazon, and have just evolved the business through there.
That's great, because once you get into Amazon,
then you have exposure to the whole world.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
All right, the crayons.
Yes, I am the founder of All of Us Crayons. They are beeswax skin tone crayons. We started because my daughter wanted to draw grandma, and in the beeswax crayon set that we had, we didn't have that beautiful brown shade that grandma was. And so I looked up a recipe online. I put one together for our family, and I shared it with friends, and everyone wanted a set.
And you have every shade.
So they come in 8 skin tone shades, from the deepest brown to the lightest shade. My big goal is to be a starter of conversations, to really plant seeds of connections. And we hope those seeds can build into really strong roots of solidarity within our communities. When a child draws from their own desires and creativity and imagination, it hits a little differently, and it seeps into their soul with a large impact on how they see the world around them.
Isn't it incredible to be an entrepreneur? You're an entrepreneur in business, but you're also an entrepreneur of your own life. And I always say, once you pass the challenges and you survive the challenges, your challenges become your best souvenir. So which were your biggest, worst little challenges that now make you laugh?
Well, I think personally, we're still going through so many challenges.
Yes,
as a
and you
business.
always will.
And I think it's just kind of a realization that there's always going to be something, right, to tend to. But I would say having the confidence to say this could be a pretty sizable business and I have the expertise and the ability to do it and see it through. I think cultivating that was hard when I didn't have a chemistry background for the formulation of the product. I didn't have an MBA. I didn't have all the things that you would consider to be give you credibility to start a business. I just had an idea and a passion to see it through.
The biggest challenge for me is to really keep my pulse on why I started the brand, the direction of love and deep connection and care for people. And as I grow, a lot of our strategy is what our revenue numbers are like, what are our sales number going to be for the next quarter, and it's a lot of logistical strategy work, and to remind myself of why I'm doing this and to keep the pulse on just love and deep care for people.
This is great. This is great. So, and then of course, Amazon is such a part of our life. So did you find Amazon or did they find you?
I found Amazon early in our journey because it was a way to have access to everyone, for exposure to my business, to my idea, to the story of how it started. Tea Drops is such a different innovation than what you see in the standard tea aisle. So a way to tell my story, I could do that through Amazon.
Yeah, we found Amazon and we knew that in order to get in front of families and children, that Amazon was the best place to make that happen.
That's great. It's actually quite wonderful that Amazon helps these young, new companies. It's good for everybody. I mean, it's good for you, but it's good for the consumers.
Exactly. Yeah, and they have different programs for different levels of where you are in your business and different tools and resources to help you scale.
Was it any harder because you were a woman?
I think that there are unique challenges to
Of
being
course.
a woman.
Right.
Being a mom, I think that is a big part of my day, and of my management of my day, and being able to balance my needs as a mother and also the needs of the business. I think that is a large challenge of mine.
A lot of responsibility falls on women. They are, put in a position to be multitaskers,
That's right.
inherently multitaskers, or tend to a lot of different things, which is really a skill set that
Women
defines an entrepreneur.
Absolutely. And I think one of the most powerful gifts women have is that gut instinct and that intuition.
I certainly don't think I would have succeeded as quickly as I did and as violently, as I did if I just had if it was a job. It would have taken a lot more push this one, push that one. I mean, now when you're an entrepreneur, all you push is yourself.
We create our own path.
That's right.
And our own journey.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's right. The wrap dress, yes, I created it, but truly it created me, right? Just like the tea drop created you and the crayons created you. When I was young, I did not know what I wanted to do, but I knew the kind of woman I wanted to be. I wanted to be a woman in charge, and I became a woman in charge with a little dress. So, when did you feel in charge for the first time?
I think there's moments of feeling in charge.
Yes.
I don't always feel in charge, but I do remember the first time of seeing my product manufactured. I mentioned I was making this product in my kitchen for so long, and to actually see another manufacturer make it go on an assembly line, I think for the first time it registered the scale of what this could be.
I can relate to that.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I think the first time for me is when I received an email from my mom. And she said that she just finished wiping her tears because her child came with a picture saying, I could draw myself. And so understanding that this child may have had a seed planted inside them of, why don't I have a crayon that I can draw myself with?
I know.
Yes, and so me having all of us crayons and allowing that child to be seen, I felt like I was in charge, and my mission was right there in front of that child at that moment.
Beautiful.
Yes,
It's nice, huh?
Love
It's
that.
nice to be in charge.
Incredible.
Yeah.
As a fashion icon as you are, who do you look up to? Who are your circle of women that you gather to work through your challenges?
Well, like most, I'm sure you would probably feel the same. My mother was a big influence because I think anyone who does anything, somehow their mother was a big influence. Gloria Steinem, so many women that I so respect because their strength and the survival instinct, and also the empathy and the compassion and all of that.
My mom was such a huge
Influence on
me.
Yeah.
And, my mom, she's an immigrant from China, came here when she was 8, had a lot of challenges. I think she had to develop a lot of grit. And so I feel like that piece has definitely been passed on to me.
Well, my mother was a survivor too.
Yeah.
I mean, she survived the death camp during the war. She wasn't supposed to survive, and I was born. So my mother taught me fear is not an option. So I was not afraid to be afraid. And that was the biggest gift. But she was also tough. She was also a tiger mom.
Yeah.
And but she made me independent, and she made me rely on myself. And I can tell you, as an older woman, my advice to you, and you will agree to that, is the most important relationship in life is the one you have with yourself. And I think that's what we want to tell everybody, all those women out there who want to be entrepreneurs and who can absolutely do it if they have a good idea and lots of perseverance.
Absolutely.
I think you're both so beautiful and so original in what you've created that I'm really very impressed. I could stay with you forever, and it was really, really nice. Thank you so much for this wonderful conversation, and let's stay in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Celebrate women-owned small businesses.